Why, hello there. My name is Professor Avon Nguyen, and I'll be your instructor for your online course. This video is to welcome you to your online course and also review the syllabus with you, as well as go through the navigation that I've set up here on Canvas. So you can see here that this is the home page of your course. On the top part, there are buttons that take you to very important information for the course, as well as for your success as a student as a whole. This is where you can find the syllabus, my contact information, and resources for our class, such as my grading philosophy, and variety of other tools and tricks, such as how to get Microsoft Word for free. There are also other resources, such as resources to take care of yourself, physical and mental health resources. Right now, I also have some COVID-19 resources. In there, you'll find things such as tips on how to work productively from home, as well as low-cost clinics and healthcare providers in your area. I've also provided our guidelines for discussion, which you will need to review in order to participate in our discussion board. I'll also have included some tips and tricks for taking some online exams and quizzes. For those of you who are not too familiar with taking online courses, it can be a little different. And so I really recommend that you go through all of these resources in order to help you study better and perform better. Because oftentimes it's how we're studying and how we're approaching being a student that really makes you successful. And so it's not just about memorizing content in my course, it's about showing mastery. And so I provided these study and learning resources for you to help you be successful. If you have any questions about them, let me know. These are resources that I've curated here based off previous student feedback. So previous students have told me that they have found these particular resources helpful. I always eliminate anything that students have told me have not been helpful or been less than helpful. And so the resources that you see here are really a lot of semesters work of students' voices telling me what they need and what they have found helpful. So I hope you get a chance to look through them soon. On the bottom part of the homepage, you'll see that there are buttons that link you to each chapter. And each chapter will have 3 different types of assignments. And these 3 different types of assignments are intentionally designed to help you as a student master the chapter. And because all students, and we're all humans, are different learners, I've designed each of the chapter assignments to have a variety of different ways to show me mastery. The first is an ISR. This is an independent scholarly reflection. These will vary week to week. Sometimes I might have you write a journal prompt. Sometimes I will have you take a self-assessment survey. For example, test your emotional intelligence and discuss the results of your survey. However, the one theme of the ISR is that it's independent, meaning that it's between you and me and no one else in the course gets to see it. Unlike the discussion boards, which is what I'll get to in a second. ISRs are kind of a private way that you submit work and I can privately share with you my feedback on that work so that you can demonstrate your mastery to me in your own individualized way. ISRs do require that you have mastery of the prompt that I'm asking you to do. So if you have any questions, of course, before you answer an ISR completed, you can always ask me via email, Canvas inbox, or set up an office hours appointment with me. The second type of assignment that you'll get for each chapter is a discussion board. And these discussion boards will also vary in the way that they look. Sometimes they'll be using Flipgrid, which is kind of like a video chatting feature where you can record video and respond to a prompt question that I have. And then you can also watch other students' videos. For every discussion board, I do require that part of your grade is that you respond to at least one other student. I will always give you a prompt for what the response will be. So for example, I will tell you, oh, go look for a student who has this different type of answer, or go look for this student and provide them this type of feedback. And so I'll always guide you in the type of feedback that I want, so please do not just write, hey, Sarah, great post, and be done with it. Because when I say responding to a student, I mean that you're taking it to that next critical thinking level and you're engaging in discussion with them. The purpose of the discussion boards is that you can not only learn from me, but you also learn from your other peers and how they're making sense of the content and material. You could also learn just from other people. This is a communications class, and by the very nature of it, I want you to communicate with other people, and I want you to also learn from other people and their experiences, because we will be applying a lot of our lived experience to the content that we are learning in class. The last is a quiz. This is also a quiz that is private, that only you and I will see the results of, but the quiz is simply there to help you quickly sum up, review, and get a chance to test your knowledge of your mastery of that chapter. Not all of us are great test takers, I'm aware of that, and that's why you'll see that ultimately your quizzes and exams don't weigh as much as your other assignments, which we'll get to in the syllabus, but the quizzes are there to kind of help you have an end marker for the chapter. It is very, very, very much designed that you take the quizzes when you're done with the discussion board and you're done with your ISR. So, of course, you are welcome to take these assignments in any order that you want, as long as they're due before the deadline. But just to let you know, generally speaking, students either choose to do the ISR or the discussion board first, depending on whether or not you're a little bit more introverted or extroverted. And then students will then do the quiz at the end of it. Usually, of course, that results in a higher quiz grade simply because you've taken that time to master what you need to master by practicing with your ISR and your discussion board before you get to the quiz. So it is recommended that you do the quiz as the last thing you do for each chapter's list of assignments. If you want to know which chapters are due when, all you have to do is do a quick scroll down and you can see that I've put our entire course calendar right there for you to see. You can see that on the left-hand side, I've organized it by week because I like to think of our class by week. Since we are an online course, we don't have regular class meetings, and so I try to schedule week by week by week what I would like you all to achieve and have completed. And so you'll notice that all our due dates are mostly Friday, with the exception of your onboarding assignment, which needs to be due soon. But most things will run Friday and close Friday at 11:59 p.m. Please note that everything will close to you that is due at 11:59 p.m. regardless of whether or not you are done with it. So if you are, for example, in the middle of taking a quiz and you aren't done with the quiz and 11:59 p.m. hits, it will knock you out of the quiz. So remember that 11:59 means everything has to be in and done, not everything starts at 11. You don't start at 11:58 p.m. In other words, everything has to be in and done by 11:59 p.m. Okay? You can see here that I've tried to help guide you on your reading. I believe reading is a huge part of being a scholar. I know that textbooks can seem overwhelming. I've tried to pick one that is a little bit more reader-friendly and has pertinent examples to help you process a lot of the information. However, I do want to highlight the importance of making sure that you look at my reading suggestions that I have here for you. These reading suggestions are there to help guide you, especially for the busy student who is a part-time or full-time worker who has a lot on their plate. If you wanted to know, okay, if I'm just going to read this and what do I need to get out of this reading, what are the 3 or 4 things? And I've tried to list them here for you underneath each reading to help you kind of condense a lot of what you want to do and give you a direction and goal. Oftentimes, we just jump into reading and we don't quite know what we're supposed to be getting out of it. So I'm trying to give you those tools ahead of time so you understand, okay, when I'm done with the reading, I should be able to kind of do all of these things or know what these terms mean. And so look to the calendar to help you organize your time and your goals in reading in that type of way. This column right here, you can see, shows you what's due for that week. So I've tried to list out everything that's due by usually Friday. If it's not due Friday, I will indicate very clearly that it's due on a different day. And then I've given you in the final column what I think you should be doing for the next week and preparing. The reason being is that I try to give you weekends off if I can, but of course I know that time is of the essence with online courses, and so every single week, the old week will close Friday. Things will be due Friday at 11:59 p.m. And then 1 minute later, Friday at midnight, which is technically Saturday morning, the next week will open. So you'll have a full 7 days, Friday to Friday, to always do the assignments that you need to get done. So you can start working on a weekend if that's kind of what you want to start doing so you can get ahead on stuff. And of course, I recommend it if you have that free time. All right, so I want to get to the syllabus. You can click right here, see my little mini bio, and you can also see that the syllabus is right here. You can download a copy for yourself as well. So if you want to print it out, I'm definitely old school and I really love to print out things and read them. I like kind of having actual books, so I provided this PDF as a way for you to download it and have a copy for yourself if you want to. You'll see here on the front page, there's a majority of my contact information. Of course, you can also access this on my How to Contact Your Professor page. Whenever you see this little mouse on the syllabus, that means that that's a clickable link. And so right here, I've linked you directly to my Zoom link. That's my personal Zoom room. I'm not always on there, of course, but that's the link that you would use when you have an appointment with me during my office hours. So of course I'm not on there 24/7 like I said, but if we do have an appointment and I say, hey, meet me on Zoom, that's the link you would use. You can also find that on Canvas under the How to Contact Your Professor button page. This links directly to our Canvas course, which I'm glad you're here in our Canvas course already. And you can also see that your student learning outcomes, course description, and textbook are here. These outcomes are what are my job. This is the job that I have in order to ensure that you meet each of these 3 outcomes upon completion of the course. Couple things that I want to reiterate for those of you who may be new to taking online courses or who haven't quite taken an online course like mine in this type of topic. I wanted to break down what the time commitment is. And sometimes there might be this misconception that online courses are easier somehow than face-to-face courses, and that's definitely not the case. Online courses are not meant to be easier. They're meant to do one thing only, which is be more convenient and accessible to you, meaning that the student who has a family to take care of and a job to go to and all of these other things going on can take an online course so that it's convenient for their schedule. But please remember that convenience doesn't mean that the content is easier. I treat my online classes and hold you to the same standard that I treat my face-to-face students. So therefore, please remember that as you enter this course, this is to be treated like a face-to-face course. It is important that in your mind, you frame this online course and you treat it the same way you would treat a face-to-face course. Here, I've broken down the general time commitment. Generally speaking, for a 3-unit course in an 18-week semester, a student spends about 45 hours in class, kind of butt in seat, in lecture, in activities, in labs. The student then will also spend 36 to 42 hours outside of that class, studying, reviewing, doing homework, so on and so forth. All of those hours have been translated into this online course. So expect to spend the same amount of hours that you would total in a semester in a face-to-face class as you would in my online class. Here's a couple of tips that I want you to review that are also from previous students to help you be successful in an online format. Couple things that I expect from all my students: being respectful. I'm pretty flexible when it comes to a lot of things as an instructor, but one of the things that I will not tolerate is disrespect. So if on a Flipgrid discussion or discussion board or messages to myself or other students, you demonstrate a level of disrespect and disregard for the human that you are talking to through that screen, that is going to be something that, if it's a repeated offense, I will report to our dean's office. And they will discipline you accordingly based off the situation. I have not had this situation yet, but I want to put this policy here in order to protect my students in the online format, especially because it is incredibly important that we are kind to each other. It's very easy through a screen to forget that there's a human being behind this screen. It's very easy to forget that I am a living human, breathing human that is kind of curating this class. In a discussion board, it can be easy to forget that the student you're replying to is also a real human being, right, with feelings and emotions and experiences very similar to yours. So I have this policy here to make sure that we are constantly making sure that we are valuing one another in this learning space. Students are expected to follow the discussion guidelines I posted on Canvas. Again, that's on the home navigation page. It says discussion guidelines. Read through them. I will also reach out to you to see if you have any questions on them via Canvas announcement. Please contact me if you do, because those are the guidelines I want you to follow. And if you don't understand their depth and breadth for any reason, feel free to contact me and let me know. Another thing is communicate with me. I'm here. I want to talk to you. I want to help you, and I want to support you. And oftentimes in that online format, I don't know what's going on with my students. And so I don't feel like I can help you fully unless you let me know what's going on in your life. So for example, if you were skateboarding and you accidentally broke your leg and you couldn't submit your work on time, don't wait until the end of the semester to tell me that happened, right? Tell me right when it happens. The sooner you can tell me things, the sooner I can get you back on track. Sometimes when students wait too long, there's not a lot I can do to help you. So please make sure that you let me know of things and issues that come up when they come up, as they come up. I know it's not always possible to message me right exactly in that moment, but best practice is within 24 to 48 hours of an emergency or something happening, you let me know. And it also doesn't have to be an emergency. If you opened up the textbook and you're like, I don't know what I just read. I just spent an hour reading this. Words passed by my eyes, but I have no idea what I just consumed. If you don't know that, then please make sure that you let me know. That's what I'm here for. You can make an office hours appointment with me and be blunt and honest and say, you know what, Professor, I had no idea what this meant. And that's what I'm here for. That's why I want to be here. So please don't wait until it's too late, until you take the quiz and bomb it and don't do well on it, to ask me about the chapter. Ask me when you're reading and you don't understand so that you can do well on the quiz later on, okay? This is just a quick overview of what Canvas is. I'm not going to belabor it too much. Of course, I have some support resources for you on that homepage as well on how to navigate Canvas if you're kind of new to it or you don't really know how to use it. But really, it's our classroom. This is the classroom. And so you are expected to come into your classroom regularly and check up on announcements and any kind of updates. I will send announcements weekly. Sometimes I'll send them multiple times in a week, sharing information with you, resources, reminders, things like that. I've also linked here to the Canvas Student Guide and our Chafee Distance Education Department if you want more information on how to access and use Canvas, okay? One thing I want to note here, please do not use your phone to do work. I really want to emphasize that I love the Canvas app for a lot of reasons, and doing your work on them is not one of them. So, couple things that I want to do. I'll start with the positive. The positive is I really want you all to download the Canvas app because it's a great way to stay connected to the course while you're on the go. If you want to check your grades real quick, check a deadline, make sure you can read an announcement, message me directly on Canvas using the inbox feature. All of that is really easy when you have the Canvas app downloaded to your phone. It's free for both Android and iOS. You just log in the normal way you would on Canvas. However, do not use the Canvas app or your phone in general to do work. There have been so many times in the past when students have lost entire ISRs and papers, their quizzes malfunction. It's just not reliable. You really should be using a laptop, a computer of some kind to do your work. Very important that you have that in your mind because, while of course I can't stop you from doing your work on your phone, oftentimes I'll be able to tell if the error is because you used your phone. And I know sometimes we're in an emergency and you just have to use your phone, and that won't be something that I will use to penalize your grade. Just know that you will be held responsible for anything that happens if you do use your phone. And that's just simply because I'm trying to deter you all from doing that. And also, you don't really get the full experience of an online course if you're just using your phone. I really think that it disconnects students even more from the course. And I want you to kind of be on a computer, immerse yourself in the experience, and kind of really get that chance to be a productive online student. And that can't really happen as easily when you're using your phone either. So again, please make sure that you are using your phone, not using your phone. Only using it to message me, check grades, check announcements. That's it. Like I said before, treat this as you would your face-to-face class. Remember that you don't get extra privileges that face-to-face classes don't get. One of them is, for example, resubmitting stuff. Sometimes students will resubmit things on Canvas over and over and over again because it's there, because it's accessible. And I will not grade anything that is just resubmitted because you want a better grade. So for example, you submitted a paper, you didn't get the grade you wanted. You don't get to just resubmit it over and over and over again just because it's online to get a better grade. That's a privilege that face-to-face classes don't get, so you don't get it. And also, it's really difficult for me as an instructor to keep regrading and regrading things, and I can't move you and other students forward in the course if I'm spending too much time regrading and regrading and regrading. So I ask that you respect my time, and I will make sure to respect yours. Learn, understand, and apply and memorize. Speaking of not wasting your time, I'm a big believer in not wasting students' time. I don't give you busy work. All of the work I do is curated to try to make sure that you are engaged in a variety of different ways. Some ways you might enjoy more than others. So some students, for example, who are more extroverted might love the video chats, right, with other students, and some might not. But some students who are great writers might love the ISRs, and some students may not. But just know that all of my assignments are intentionally designed to help provide a wide access to students to demonstrate that they learned and understood something, not that they memorized something. So no, please don't go to Quizlet and try to have Quizlet give you all the answers to something, because most often than not, even my quizzes will give you not definition-based questions, but they will give you application-based questions. Well, I'll give you a scenario and I'll ask you to explain it. This is really the core of what I see myself as an instructor. I'm not here to kind of fill your head with just vocabulary words. You are not kind of, the metaphor is a bucket that I fill with water, but rather you are a candle that I help ignite and light. I want you to become thirsty for more knowledge. I want you to be excited about learning, and I want you to see that what you're learning has direct impact on your career, your personal life, and your academic life. And that's what my goal is as an instructor. And to have those goals, that means that I have to hold my students to this high standard of critical thinking that might be difficult in that online environment. And again, that's why I'm here as a resource, and that's why my assignments are designed to help prompt that critical thinking out of you. One quick note on the online environment: maintain confidentiality. So if you see a student that submitted something on a discussion board and they're being vulnerable, don't screenshot and put that on your Twitter. Don't do that. Not that students have done that. I've never had an incident of that, but I really just am worried about an online world in which, y'all know, when something goes out on the internet, it's out there forever and you can't take it down. And so I just want to put here that if any student is found to be sharing stuff on social media or posting things on social media related to our course, especially if it's my work or another student's words, don't do that. Maintain confidentiality. In a face-to-face class, if a student is sharing about a personal experience they had, you wouldn't immediately then leave the class, go into the hallway, and scream their personal story out to the world, would you? So don't do that here. Don't screenshot something and share it to the rest of the world. What stays in our class stays in our class, just like Vegas. So please, please, please be mindful of that. Please use all resources that I have given you. I have really tried to make this course as accessible, direct, and streamlined for you as possible. And so that really means that you don't need Google. If you needed Google, then you really wouldn't need any of your professors, right? And what I'm trying to say with that is not because I'm trying to say that I know everything, but what I'm trying to say is that sometimes, well, a lot of times, the internet is not completely accurate, and it's not absolutely, it doesn't include all of the information that you need. So when you are struggling with a topic, please resist the urge to just Google it. Because oftentimes, well-meaning students who I know that are great students and you just want to do well and all of that good stuff, I know that. You go to Google and you do all this research on Google. That research is incomplete or not accurate or totally false. You do your paper or your ISR based off that information, and then you get a bad grade. And then you'll get frustrated because you're like, I spent 2 hours researching this on Google and writing it, and I still got a bad grade. And then I kind of have to be the bad cop in that scenario and say, well, but yes, but you didn't really get it. And so all of my lectures, my videos, my examples, and the textbook are resources for you to complete the assignments. I will never ask you to complete an ISR or answer discussion board post or take a quiz with questions that do not include, which answers that are not already included in my lecture. Okay? You do not need to go to Google. A big reason for this is that in communication studies, especially common words like conflict, transactional, family, system, those words are everyday words that you probably already know, and they seem very simple. But in the context of our field and how I'm teaching them to you and how our textbook uses them, they have a much more deep meaning. So please, please, please know that if you Google them, you will get incomplete, inaccurate definitions on them, most likely. And again, if you're reading the book, you're watching my lecture, and you're like, I still don't get it, that's what I'm here for. And I'm here to provide you a variety of different examples, ideas, and help and support in my office hours. Google, I'm your Google, in other words, okay? Please, please, please don't do that to yourself. Practice academic integrity. I have linked here the Chaffee College Student Behavior Code for you to go to, and that kind of has the full breadth and depth of what that means. And I've kind of summarized it here, the difference between cheating and plagiarism, both which are not tolerated in my course. Plagiarism also includes copy-pasting things, changing one word, and putting it on there. If you didn't write the entire sentence yourself, then it needs to be quoted. And if it's not quoted, then it's considered plagiarism. I'll let y'all kind of review this on your own, but just know that I have a pretty quick stance against this. If I do feel kind of iffy about something I'm reading or a paper, I will run it through turnitin.com just to make sure. So please make sure that you are cognizant and aware of what plagiarism, what cheating constitutes. I'm a firm believer that most of the time students are well-intentioned and sometimes stumble into plagiarizing without knowing it. Like I said, copy-pasting a whole sentence and changing one word. That's plagiarism because you still didn't write 99.9% of that sentence, right? Even though you changed the word. So be aware of what these definitions mean so that you don't get yourself into trouble because colleges can put it on your record, ultimately speaking, if you are found plagiarizing or cheating on any type of assignment. Couple things about assignments. Speaking of, I don't accept late work. The reason being for that is because it really drags down the online environment. Again, like I said before, if I'm going back and kind of rehashing old work and not focusing my attention on what we're doing this week, I'm a very future forward thinking person and I like to have things done on time, ready to go. And so I also want to promote really healthy time management skills, especially in an online environment where there's kind of no boundaries of a building or a space. It can be easy to be like, oh, I'll do that later. And so I have really hard deadlines for that reason, because I want to make sure that our online course is structured. Online courses without that structure can make students feel really disconnected, and it can make the student feel like this is not a high stakes course, right? That this is not the same as a face-to-face. So I'm trying to model what I would do in my face-to-face classes for you. However, I am not completely cold-hearted. I know stuff happens. I was a student once that had 18 units and worked 3 different jobs and had to take care of my family. So I totally understand that there are a lot of things going on in our lives right now, plus COVID, and lots of other things that are going on that can really challenge your ability to get work done on time. So if you ever have any type of emergency, you simply can go down to this page of the syllabus right here, where you can see that if you had an emergency, all you need to do is just let me know via email, send me documentation of it, then I'll reopen the assignment and let you resubmit it as if nothing happened. No point penalty, nothing. I know documentation can sound scary, but when I say documentation, what I mean is just proof that what you said happened, right? So if your computer broke and you literally couldn't access Canvas and upload your paper, and you took it to Best Buy or wherever to get it fixed, just show me that receipt, right, that you got it fixed. If you had to buy a new one, you can show me the receipt of your new one. I'm really flexible with what that means. For a lot of classes, I've had students like take selfies next to a car accident that they were in, which don't do that. That's not safe. But I've had a lot of students find creative ways to let me know that an emergency happened to them. And it really helps me be proactive. If I know, oh, something happened to you, I'll open all that stuff. I'll get it all ready for you. And then I'll help you also review in some office hours as well. Anything that you may have missed or anything that you need extra support on because of what happened. But again, I don't accept late work, but here's kind of the parameters of what an emergency is. Please remember that emergency isn't things you already know you have to do. So going to a wedding is not an emergency. Going on vacation is not. Having a job is not. The only time having a job is if you are an essential worker and you were kind of emergency pulled into a shift that you didn't know that you were going to have. That would be the only time. But otherwise, it's important to manage and develop good time management skills in this process. Couple assignments, I've already gone through them. Please make sure that you do them. One thing I want to emphasize here is our chat and check-in. I will require that you visit me in office hours. You can book that on our Canvas calendar, kind of self-serve book an appointment. Please make sure that if you book an appointment with me, that you cancel it or kind of unreserve it if you're not going to come anymore. This helps other students who have other scheduling needs be able to access the appointment, right? Also, it helps me not kind of just sit there on Zoom for a long time waiting for someone that's not going to come. So please, please, please make sure that if you don't plan on coming to the appointment anymore or you're switching appointments, cancel the old one that you don't want and then make a new one, okay? Don't just leave it. You can see here my grading policies. I try to make them as clear as possible. They're broken up by assessment and assignments. You can see here our little donut chart. You can see I was very hungry when I was making this syllabus. And you can see that a majority of your assessments, your quizzes and exams in total make up 15% of your grade. However, a lot of your other regular weekly work makes up more. So again, I like to reward students and reward progress week by week and not try to have everything based off one exam, right? Or one test that kind of means your whole grade. I want the exams to be there as a way to demonstrate mastery because some students are good test takers and it's important to test ourselves, right? And while the exams are a decent chunk of your grade, they're not the end-all be-all. They're not designed to kill your grade, in other words. However, constantly missing discussions, ISRs, things like that will kill your grade. So it's important that you show up every week, be there, be active on the course, and participate. And here's a couple of student resources. I know that for a variety of you, you might be on the Rancho campus, Chino campus, a lot of other things. I teach full-time, face-to-face at the Fontana campus. So you'll see a lot of Fontana resources here. But you can also have access to our health services and our help desk as well. So I've talked a lot already and I don't want to talk anymore. I just want to welcome you to the course. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I'm pretty quick about responding to emails. The only time that you kind of see that slow down is weekends. I do take a lot of time in my own schedule to self-care and make sure that I'm taking care of myself on the weekend and my family. And so you might see a reduced response from me on the weekend. Not that I won't ever respond, but just know that if you email me Saturday morning, you might not get an answer until Monday. Might. And so just be cognizant of that. But for example, if you message me Monday, you'll probably get a response back on Monday or at the very latest Tuesday morning. So I'm pretty quick about that. If I am traveling or doing anything else, of course, I'll always send an announcement, let you know of those communication delays. But I'm here for you, and that's really what I see my role is. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I'm really excited to get to meet you all. See you soon. Bye.